Hi, it's Therese from Lost in Paper, and I'm here with Altenew today, and I'm going to be doing a couple of different really simple embossing techniques. I started by stamping out my images. You can't see them, it's a white cardstock inverser mark, so I won't make you sit through that, but I've used some images from the Botanical Garden set and also one of the mini stamp sets which is called You Make Me Happy, and these flowers and images are in a real similar sort of style. So they work really well together. There's a few sets like this and you can mix and match them and make any fabulous designs that you want. So I'm using the Golden Peach embossing powder. This is stunning. I just love the way that it shimmers and shines, and it's just a bit different to the normal gold colour that you get. So I'm embossing all my images, heat setting them with my heat tool, and then I'm going to come in and do some watercolouring. Now, one of the best things about embossing and watercolouring is that you have your outline to hold the colour within the embossed sort of section. So you don't generally have to wait for your images, each section to dry before you paint the next section, which is something that can be really frustrating with watercolouring. Just ask me. I always get frustrated. Oh, and I've stamped out extra images here too, because I wasn't really sure which ones I was going to need. So you might see a few other ones that aren't sort of included in the finished card, but I can always use them on another project. I'm doing two different styles of watercolouring here, or watercolouring with markers I should say. I've got the Tombow markers, both adding them direct to paper and also picking them up off the block. So really easy to use. And then for the stems, my Tombows just weren't the right tones against these pretty blues, so I did actually come in with a couple of my zigs as well. Now, it doesn't take me too long to do this colouring. It takes longer for it to dry, which is really frustrating. But I do have the matching dies for the Botanical Garden stamp set. So once they're all dried, I did actually die cut the ones that I could, and the ones that I don't have the dies for, like the You Make Me Happy, doesn't have a matching die, so I just simply fussy cut that with a pair of scissors. But I won't show that here on the video today. So how vibrant are these zigs? I mean, the Tombows are, but the zigs are too. I love both mediums. Alright, so the second embossing technique that I'm going to be doing today is tone on tone embossing. So I've got some navy cardstock. I know everything seems navy to me at the moment. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's a real thing at the moment. There's lots of navy. Maybe it's the new black, but it's everywhere in the card world at the moment, and I'm just loving the elegance of it. So you can actually just use a Versamark or an embossing ink to get this tone on tone look, but what I wanted to do was take it that one step further and actually heat emboss it. So the way that I do that is actually to stamp out my pattern. This is a panel that's cut to the same size as the front of my card, and I've just stamped out the word thanks multiple times, and this is from the Many Thanks stamp set. And because it's embossing ink, it doesn't dry quick. You've got lots of time, and I could see where I'd stamped. If you couldn't see where you'd stamped, you could actually add the powder before you kept stamping. You know, it doesn't make much difference. And I had to include this. How cool does it look when you hit it with the heat embossing tool? The heat tool. What am I hitting it with? The heat tool. And now for this one, I've actually used the clear embossing powder, and that gives you that tone on tone look. Isn't it just fabulous? I've cut a piece of the pale grey cardstock just on an angle, and I wanted to add like a white border. I don't know why, I just felt like it needed it to help lift it. Adding some adhesive to the back of the navy panel, and then just going to pop this on the front of my top fold card. And I did decide to pop up my little angled panel of the grey cardstock, and I've used some fun foam behind that, and then just added some score tape to make sure that that stays put against the shiny embossing powder. It's not powder anymore, embossed images. Then I can just flip my cardstock over and cut away the excess. It's really helpful to have a nice, sharp, straight, long pair of scissors. For this, they work really well. And then all that was left to do was add some fun foam and some dotted adhesive to my flowers, and I ended up using 3 of the images and popped them on the front panel of my card. I did try and add a butterfly. It didn't work. So I won't make you sit through that. And that's my finished card for today. Thanks for joining me. I'll put all the links below. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.